How are we doing? It's a good weekend for football. Little bit of a late one. I'm not going to stay on too long. Obviously, I know there's a game that's about to kick off at 12:30, and that is Newcastle at Leeds, I believe it is. Teams have just dropped. Kickoff is in about half an hour. So I'm going to try and whiz through last week's results and obviously this week's predictions. Obviously with regards to what's been transpiring in the Premier League. So we'll start off last week, Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 3. Little bit of a surprise, that one, considering the rotten run Chelsea have been on, and obviously Bournemouth securing their safety in the Premier League. I thought Bournemouth would be celebrating, to be quite honest, and maybe they did. Maybe they celebrated too much. Decent result for Chelsea. It is a team, obviously, I would, put down to beat Bournemouth with the amount of riches that they've got at the moment. Decent game for what I saw. I didn't actually watch the match, but from what I saw, a decent game with Chelsea coming out on top. Still 11th in the league at the moment, though, but they've guaranteed their safety as well this season. Obviously, Chelsea and Bournemouth can't do much more than obviously where they're at now. I think there's like 3 or 4 games left of the season, so there's not really much that either of them can do. On to the Etihad, Manchester City 2, Leeds United 1. This is the game when I thought Manchester City would obviously run riot. I was looking at about 4 or 5-0. Haaland obviously to have a couple of hat-tricks in that game. Not to be, man. Leeds showed that they've got a little bit of fighting spirit under Sam Allardyce, which we obviously expected because obviously the man that Allardyce is, he gets results. That's just what he does. But Man City came out on top, another 3 points, toward the title, which is obviously going to happen now. I don't see Man City slowing down anytime soon. As for Leeds, a lot of fight. And now because of that, I think Newcastle might get a game today, in about half an hour's time. It's a difficult one to judge them at the moment now because Sam is going to get them defensively solid. And they look decent going forward as well. Caused Man City a couple of problems and maybe could have nicked an equaliser as well. But for what it was, Manchester City 3 points again. Leeds United is still stuck in the relegation mire at the moment. I believe they are 18th, if I'm not mistaken. Leicester just below them, of course, and obviously Southampton bumping up everyone else. Wolverhampton 1, Aston Villa 0. That did nothing for Aston Villa's European slash hopes, potentials, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, Aston Villa are in the running for a European spot, absolutely. Just depends on which Europa League they get, whether it's the actual Europa League or the Europa League Conference. But this one was like a dagger to the heart, especially of the opponents that beat them at Molineux, which is obviously Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton have obviously, their safety is now done. They've reached the 40-point mark. They will now not be caught. Wretched game from what I saw. Not much goal-mouth action, which is strange considering both of these teams do like to go on the attack. There wasn't much of that apparently. Again, another one of those games I didn't really see. There was a lot of 3 o'clock kickoffs last week. So this is one of those that I didn't necessarily see myself. But from what it looked like, resolute defending from Wolverhampton, of course. And yeah, Aston Villa just, I think that's the third game on the bounce now that they haven't showed up in front of goal. Ollie Watkins seems to have dried up a little bit. Of course, we're playing Aston Villa this week, today at 3 o'clock. So, of course, back to winning ways for Aston Villa. Obviously, it's the way it goes usually. We're the team that love to give charity. So I would not be surprised if we went to Villa Park and absolutely got slapped all across the pitch. Speaking of us, we won a game. Tottenham versus Crystal Palace. That was live from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I don't quite know what to say about it, to be fair. Yes, we should be beating Crystal Palace. Yes, we should be a lot higher than where we are in the league at the moment. But obviously, with the turmoil that we've had this season, we've been slapped about from pillar to post from the media, on the pitch. It's been a joke. And I'm hearing now that we have stopped the pursuit of Julian Nagelsmann. So Nagelsmann now will not be our manager, which is a strange decision, considering he's probably the best of what we could get at the moment. Obviously, Pochettino looks like he's set to go to Chelsea. So I want to know what the plan is now. So you lose out on one of the best young managers in the generation, just left Bayern Munich. to then say he's not ready as yet. What does that mean? What does that actually mean? So there needs to be a bit of a clarification on there, because the next manager that comes in has to be given 5-10 years for this project to actually work. We can't have stopgap managers anymore. It has to be someone that's committed to the cause, that wants to be there. And maybe that is Ryan Mason. I don't know. What do I know anyway? We've had some of the best managers in the game and they couldn't do nothing. So it might be a stroke of genius to give it to Ryan Mason full time. Who knows? We'll see. But 1-0 onto the game. Really, really decent game actually for what I saw. Son was very, very good. Could have had a couple himself. Harry Kane, obviously, now second highest top goal scorer in the league's history. Chasing down Alan Shearer. I do believe Kane is going to stay beyond the summer as well. I think the summer for him to leave would have been last summer. And obviously Man City got Haaland since then. So I don't see Kane leaving now. But we need to get ourselves together. We really do. Whoever the manager comes in, and it need to back him. I mean, I understand. I've been seeing the banners. I've been seeing the turmoil at the moment online with regards to Tottenham fans wanting Enik out. And I am for one of those. I'm on the fence about it. I don't know. I understand why they want him out. Yeah, it's just it's a strange one for me. It's a strange one for me. I just want us to play good football again. I want us to play good football again. I feel like they don't make. Yeah, I'm gonna say Enik out at this moment because they don't seem to make good footballing decisions. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. So I will go with the Enik out. I'll go with Levy out right now because it doesn't seem to be working. You don't seem to be backing the managers as and when they need the backing. You kind of just give them one lump sum and kind of just go, here, take that, run with it. But there needs to be more. The fabric of this club is completely rotten. Needs to be gutted and need to go again. So we'll see what happens next in relation to that. Anfield next, Liverpool 1, Brentford 0. Again, one of those really, really boring games. But I think Liverpool made it that way because Liverpool are starting to grind out results now at the right time. They are 1 point behind United, who are currently occupying the 4th position. Obviously, United have a game less to play, but United are dropping injuries like flies at the moment. I think Varane, is coming back from injury now, but they're still without Alessandro. I think Marcus Rashford is now on the table now, injury table at the moment. So it's difficult to see where United are getting their goals from. Martial obviously isn't doing anything. Fernandes is not really doing much. Couple of neat touches in the midfield, but he's not dragging his team to games. Eriksen playing too deep for me. Sancho, I've been saying it about Sancho pretty much since he came. He's not that guy. Anthony, yeah, a couple of long-range screamers. He's got it in his Arsenal, but that's not enough. It's not enough. So it could get sticky for Man United quite quickly. On to the game, though. Liverpool 1, Brentford 0. Brentford didn't really offer much. Liverpool just going back to what they know best, which is obviously resolute defending. And then obviously once they get the ball into midfield, their transitions are really, really, really quick. And it told. And Liverpool ended up with 3 points over a 1-0 win. Newcastle 0, Arsenal 2. So this is one of the ones that surprised me a little bit, considering where they were, and obviously the team that they're facing. So I fully expected Newcastle to do the business for me last week against Arsenal. They did not. Arsenal actually played really, really well, to be quite honest with you. You're not going to hear me say that very often, but they kind of surprised me a little bit. Newcastle, like a house on fire the first sort of 20-25 minutes. And then Martin Odegaard scored, and then it kind of just fizzled out from that moment onwards. Newcastle didn't really recover. Arsenal defended quite decently and then, just ground them down in the second half. Which is obviously what you do after a disappointment Arsenal had in the game before, which was against Man City, where they got absolutely slaughtered. But decent win nonetheless for them. They got us a really tough assignment, actually, over the weekend against Brighton. Arsenal do. And Brighton will obviously be licking their wounds because they got absolutely smoked. We'll get into that in a moment. West Ham 1, Manchester United 0. I've said it before, United not in the best run of form, got a few injuries. Marcus Rashford is now injured. But this was a very, very good result for West Ham. West Ham were very resolute last week. Really, really good, actually. I thought they fought for each other. I knew this would be a banana skin game for Man United because West Ham, one of those teams. It's like this for any club. Under the lights at their stadium, it could get a little bit peak. And for United, it did. United didn't really have an answer for West Ham. West Ham played them like a fiddle. Knew when to press. They all pressed at the same time. They attacked really well. Declan Rice was man of the match, and rightly so, because he was absolutely everywhere. Really, really good game to watch on West Ham's part. Not so much from Man United. I thought Man United were quite wretched. But very good win for West Ham. West Ham still sort of down in the mire at the moment, but I think they're good enough to obviously pull away. I don't think they'll be in any danger of getting relegated. Fulham 5, Leicester City 3. That was from Craven Cottage. Mad game. Anything that you could think of happening in the game of football, that was the game to see. I didn't actually watch it. That was on the Monday, the bank holiday Monday, that game. Lots of goals over the bank holiday weekend. It was crazy. So Fulham 5, Leicester City 3. For what I saw, probably the game of bank holiday. But as I say that, Brighton 1, Everton 5 from the Amex Stadium was equally as shocking. More to the point shocking because Everton don't go and do that to anybody. It just shows you how bonkers the Premier League actually is. Brighton, one of the best teams in the league this season, performance-wise, at home especially, got absolutely turned over by an Everton side that have been struggling throughout the entire season. Sean Dyche's teams don't score 5 goals at home, let alone away at one of the best teams in the country in relation to I don't know who that guy thinks he is, to be quite honest, in case you guys heard that breeze past me. Yeah, Brighton, just one of those teams, really, really good, watchful on the eye. Everton went there and just absolutely ransacked, literally knocked on their door, breezed past them, cooked themselves some dinner, put their feet on the table, ate the dinner, dashed the dishes in the sink and left. That's pretty much what they've done. And now Everton have put themselves in a prime position to obviously get out of the mire. They're currently occupying 17th at the moment. Nottingham Forest 4, Southampton 3. That was a mad game as well. Tough one on Southampton, but Southampton go down so easy. So easy. You could take that punt as you want to as well. Nottingham Forest, pick them apart. Forest, don't get me wrong, I love Forest. I'm happy they're back in the league, but they need to get that defence sorted. They have to get that defence sorted. You should not be conceding 3 goals at home to Southampton. It just shouldn't happen. But again, a very entertaining game. A game that I thought could have gone either way, but Nottingham Forest showed me that they are about that life and want to obviously fight for this league. I think Southampton are now gone. I don't see any way back for them at this moment in time now. And I don't think there's anyone in that dressing room that actually believes that they can stay up. James Ward-Prowse will probably leave, and he should, because he deserves a lot more than what he's getting at the moment. That's the roundup of last week. Today, as I stated before, Leeds United versus Newcastle was coming up again in about 20 minutes or so. I'm going to go with a draw here. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Leeds 1, Newcastle 1, just because of the Sam Allardyce effect. Obviously, Allardyce was a former Newcastle manager for a time as well, albeit for about 4 months, but he's been there. It's against his former club. He'll want to show that Leeds are about that. And I think they'll get a decent result today. So I'm going to go 1-1 there. Southampton versus Fulham. That's from St Mary's. I'm going to go with a Fulham win. I believe Mitrovic is back. I think he could play like the last 3-4 games of the season. So Mitrovic being back in the team is massive for Fulham. I see him on the score sheet today. And I think Fulham are going to win the game 2-1. On to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. So I think Chelsea went to Forest earlier in the season and got turned over, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Chelsea are going to hand them back the favour. So I do think that Chelsea win today's on the cards, and I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Chelsea. They'll pick up a little bit of momentum and maybe win like the next sort of couple of games before the season finishes. Aston Villa versus Spurs. I said it earlier, Aston Villa are one of those teams at home that are very, very good, very resolute, very direct, which is what we don't like. But Harry Kane. But Ryan Mason, he showed that he could be a little bit different. Under Mason, we've scored in every single game. So it's intriguing to see what he does today, because obviously he played a flat 4-4-2 last week and then obviously changed it up as the game wore on. So I'm thinking he might go with the same formation again, with Porro obviously on the right, Emerson Royale on the right of sort of back 4, Ben Davies on the left, and obviously Son Heung-min on the left with Richarlison and Kane up top. So I think he might go for that again. I'm going to go with we won there 4-1 last season, or 4-0 last season even. 2-1 win to us, or to 2-1 win either way. 2-1 win either way. I don't think I can confidently sit here and be like, yeah, we'll beat Villa. I don't think we I can't sit at any Spurs game with confidence at this moment in time. I think it'd be 2-1 either way. Man United versus Wolves sounds like a bit of a tricky one. Man United should win the game, but Wolverhampton, again, they're safe. They're playing very, very good football under Lopetegui at the moment. Wolverhampton do have a goal threat. They've scored quite a few goals in the past few weeks this season. And most of the goals that they score are usually winning goals. I don't recall Wolves sort of losing many games when they've scored in the game. It's usually resolute defending after they score the goals, and it could go down to that. I see a tight affair today. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, and I'm not surprised if Wolves take this, to be quite honest, because of Man United's injuries. So we shall see. That's again today at 3 o'clock. Also, Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth, Selhurst Park. Bournemouth, I think, are on the beach now. I think Palace will take this. Obviously, the loss to us last week would have hurt them. I think they come back with a bang today. I'll go with 2-0 win for Crystal Palace. Then we got tomorrow, Everton versus Manchester City. Obviously, Man City coming off that epic 1-1 draw in the Champions League against Real Madrid midweek. I think Everton are in for a little bit of a hiding. I know Everton played very, very well in the midweek against Brighton away from home. I just don't think Man City are going there to get turned over. It'll be a professional job, and I'm going to go with a 2-0 Man City win from Goodison. Brentford versus West Ham. West Ham playing on Thursday. I think they're going hell for leather for the European Championship there. And I think Brentford will turn them over based on the fact that West Ham, will be tired and they'll probably rotate a little bit as well. So Brentford will probably take an easy 3 points there. And I will go 2-0 win for Brentford there. Arsenal versus Brighton. That's from the Emirates. Again, I wouldn't be surprised of a result for either team here. Brighton are very capable of doing it. I know Brighton obviously got hammered 5-1 in midweek, but I'll put that down to a bit of a glitch. Arsenal obviously still trying to fight for the league. I'm going to go with a narrow Arsenal win. I'm going to go 2-1, but I would not be surprised if Brighton went there and literally stumped them, got a draw out of it or something. That would not surprise me. Brighton are one of those teams. And then Monday Night Football, we are at the King Power. Leicester City versus Liverpool. Usually yields a lot of goals, that game. Leicester deep in trouble at the moment and need a result. Under the lights, Monday Night Football against a resurgent Liverpool side. I see a lot of goals. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. I think Leicester really got to try their luck here. And Liverpool obviously will score, I believe, because Leicester are not good enough defensively. So that's my roundup of the week. Again, I'm going to go rush in, watch the game. I've got a lot of football ahead of me today. Might do a couple of bets. Haven't decided on what I'm doing as yet. But enjoy your weekend. And I'll do another video, obviously, the next week. Yeah, we'll speak soon. Stay out of trouble. And we'll talk again in a bit.